Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The soldiers graduating today come from homes throughout these United States. Their flags displayed here today symbolizing the broad base of our national defense. The leaders most responsible for training your soldiers are the drill sergeants. The Department of the Army carefully selects each drill sergeant from the top 10% of all staff sergeants and sergeants first class. Reciting the drill sergeant creed today is Drill Sergeant Emerald Mason from Boston, Massachusetts. At this time, the reviewing party will present the awards. The drill sergeant of the cycle is being recognized for his exemplary performance throughout the cycle. He will be awarded the Army Achievement Medal, a certificate from the Chattahoochee Valley Fort Benning chapter of the Association of the United States Army, and a Drill Sergeant of the Cycle trophy. Receiving the award for Drill Sergeant of the Cycle for Alpha Company, 3rd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment is Drill Sergeant Emerald Mason from Boston, Massachusetts. There is one soldier of the cycle selected for his accomplishments and recognition as the best all-around soldier in the company. For this achievement, the soldier will be awarded the Army Achievement Medal and a certificate from the Chattahoochee Valley Fort Benning chapter of the Association of the United States Army. Receiving the award for Soldier of the Cycle for Alpha Company, 3rd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment is Private Ryan Sheldon from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. His next duty station will be Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. The soldiers would not be able to complete their training without the dedicated support of the hard-working cadre of 2nd Battalion, 46th Infantry Regiment. The cadre of the cycle will receive an Army Achievement Medal and a Battalion Certificate of Appreciation. Receiving the award from Alpha Company, 3rd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment is 2nd Lieutenant Katie Jones, the Executive Officer from Yardley, Pennsylvania. The soldiers would not be able to complete their training without the dedicated support of the hard-working civilian staff of Fort Benning. The civilian of the cycle will receive an Army Civilian Service Achievement Medal and a Battalion Certificate of Appreciation. Receiving the award from Alpha Company, 3rd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment is Ms. Sharika Ism from the Sandhill Finance Office. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in a round of applause for these outstanding awardees. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of 2nd Battalion, 46th Infantry Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel J. Cale Brown.
Good morning. How's everybody feeling? Hey, it's a fantastic day. It's got to be the biggest crowd I've seen at one of these graduations. That's super. I don't know if you all are aware, but this is about as good of a weather as you can ask for in the middle of July in Georgia. All right, so with all those great conditions said, let's say we get this thing going. Major General Retired Mrs. Bowen, Colonel and Mrs. Shanahan, Colonel and Mrs. O'Toole, Colonel and Mrs. Miller, Colonel and Mrs. Clark, Lieutenant Colonel Barton, Lieutenant Colonel Graham, Command Sergeant Major Shannon, Command Sergeant Major Barrage, Command Sergeant Major Graham, Chief Master Sergeant Sheldon, Sergeant Major Stell, Sergeant Major Boxell, distinguished guests, friends, and family members, welcome to today's graduation ceremony from Alpha Company, 3rd Battalion, 47th Infantry Regiment.
He's the third one down. 1, 2, 3.
Now, I prepared about 30 minutes of material to present this morning. I assure you it was a riveting analysis of the Battle of Bunker Hill and its relevance in the global war on terror. But my battle buddy, Master Major Brown, reminded me that my remarks were the one obstacle between you all and your soldiers. And with that astute observation, I felt it better to skip the history lesson and just talk about Alpha Company.
Yeah! Get her done, boss. Let's go.
I want to start by recognizing the soldiers from 2nd Battalion, 29th Infantry Regiment, who added a bit of flair to this morning's demonstration with their Bradley fighting vehicle and Striker. Thanks, gentlemen, for making this ceremony a special one.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but those metal beats really cut me up. Next, I'd like to recognize you, the families of these fine young soldiers. Rarely is the decision to join the Army made alone. It's rarer still when the nation is actively engaged in armed conflict.
Yep.
Decisions like that are made only with the support and approval of loving families. I want to thank you for the support you've given these young men to this point, and I want to challenge you to continue that support in the future. Though it may seem like it's all downhill from here, I can assure you that there are struggles ahead. But the soldiers before you today have proven themselves equal to the task. You should be very proud of these young men. Let me hear it if you're proud of your soldier. Outstanding. They do look good out there. Next, I'd like to congratulate the drill sergeants of Alpha Company on a job well done and offer my humble thanks. If our Army is Army strong, it's because of drill sergeants such as these who took the raw material America had to offer and forged it into something different, something tougher. The changes they've made in the lives of these young men in 10 short weeks are simply amazing. And what they've done and what they do day after day comes at a considerable cost. The cost measured in pints of sweat poured out on the range, of hours spent correcting marksmanship form, of miles logged on road marches. I'm sure a few of you have heard about how early your soldier had to get up in the morning. Am I right?
Yes.
And while that may be true, somebody else was getting up even earlier to make sure he woke up at that ungodly hour. And when your soldier went to sleep that night, someone was there to make that one last check, to impart that last bit of wisdom, to share that last motivational word to get them through the next day. It was a drill sergeant. Drill sergeants, you work countless hours day in and day out, molding young men into soldiers, and that no doubt comes at the expense of time spent with your loved ones. Many of you have just returned from deployments, and most of you will leave here and go straight into another. Thank you for what you've done for these soldiers and for what you do for our nation each and every day. Now I'd like to turn my attention to the soldiers on the parade field. I'll share a few thoughts about what they've achieved and what's ahead. A little more than 10 weeks ago, Alpha Company, you swore to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies. It is an oath that less than 1% of all Americans ever makes. When others have chosen